Hey guys, it's Miss Vinion, and we're here with World War I Part 2. Alright, so we're going to look at the reasons for American entry and the new weapons and technology used during the war, including trench warfare. Alright, so one of the reasons America joins the war after being neutral for so long is that the Germans have U-boats, and those are submarines. They sank the Lusitania ship in May 1915 that had 128 Americans on it and killed 1,200 civilians. Basically, Lusitania entered German waters, Germans shot it down, and this is going to anger Americans, and a lot of propaganda is going to come out about this. All right, so this is a German U-boat, and this would be an example of the Lusitania, what that would look like. All right, so after this, there's a lot of anti-German propaganda created by Great Britain and America, and this causes America to dislike Germany. Propaganda is basically swaying people's opinion. Here's one that says Red Cross or Iron Cross. So the Red Cross is Allied powers, Central Powers, Iron Cross. Wounded and a prisoner, our soldier cries for water. The German sister pours it on the ground before his eyes. There's no woman in Britain who'd do it. There's no woman in Britain that would forget it. So basically making the Germans look like less than human. Okay? So another reason why we joined the war was in February 1917, there was a secret offer to Mexico from Germany. Germany wanted Mexico to attack the United States of America, and in return, Germany promised Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and all that once belonged to Mexico. America finds out about this, and they're not happy about it, so this pushes the U.S. into war. It is worth noting, though, that sometimes people say that this is a conspiracy, that the American government used this to try to force America into war, but that's never been proven, so we go with our facts here that we have, that is what helped America enter the war. So, let's talk about why were we neutral in the first place. We're neutral because of moral diplomacy set up by Woodrow Wilson, that we were not going to get involved. We're isolationists, which means that we only want to focus on our country. We don't want to really have to do with any of the affairs of other countries. We want to keep international trading rights between all countries, and America was really split in who they favored. Alright, so if you can see here, the war's front is fought on two fronts, the Western Front and the Eastern Front. And the Central Powers are here in yellow. So Allied powers here in peach. Okay, and you can see that this is going to separate the German and Austria-Hungary empires are going to have to fight on both sides. Alright, so beginning of the war is trench warfare. So people are fighting in the trenches. This is an old strategy, has not been used for a while, but it had been around for a long time. But trenches were miserable. They had rainstorms, sanitation problems, rats, lice, disease, everything, basically everything that's disgusting that you can think of. This is what I call a luxury trench. This one was reinforced, and this one had been there for a while. You can see the sandbags up here, and it's reinforced by sticks. And then, why was trench warfare started in World War I? The biggest thing that you need to write here is revolution in weapons, but not in mobility. So that means there's so many new weapons, but they didn't know how to move them. They're very difficult to move, and they actually, most of the time, they used horses. Okay, what was a soldier's life like? They didn't stay in the trenches forever. They could be there for a day to 2 weeks, just like our guy was talking about in All Quiet on the Western Front. So you spent about 15% of your time on the front line, 10% on the support line, 30% on the reserve line, 20% the rest, and 25% in the hospital. Trench raids took place, so you would try to get to the other side's trenches and take information from them. All right, this is what a trench looks like, and we call this in the middle no man's land, and it is, you've got barbed wire here on either side. And then these are the trenches. We have the reserve trench in the back, and then we move up to the support trench, and then you have the cover trench, and then this is the firing trench. Okay, so basically this is a elaborate system of trenches that they set these big weapons on because they couldn't move them. That's why they fight from these. All right, so looking at some of these, a lot of these had to be dug very quickly, but a lot of them had been around and were used. So some of the new weapons were poison gas, mustard and tear gas. You have to have a gas mask for this due to the blinding and choking and burning that took place. They had rapid-fire machine guns, tanks, and aircraft in this war. This is what a machine gun looked like. It usually took 3 people. You had one pumping it here, you had one feeding in the ammo, and one aiming. These are the Japanese gas masks versus the U.S. gas masks, so you can see a difference between those. They all had their different gas masks. I'm going to be honest, the Australian one does not look like that guy made it. It looks like a paper bag. But anyways, you can see this over here. Sometimes they wore that because the gas was so poisonous. A new weapon is the poison gas, and None of the gas masks were 100% effective. And this is where we're going to end. The skin of victims of mustard gas blistered, their eyes became very sore, and they began to vomit. Mustard gas caused internal and external bleeding and attacked the bronchial tubes, stripped off the mucous membrane. This was extremely painful, and fatally injured victims sometimes took 4 or 5 weeks to die of mustard gas exposure. All right, so you don't have to write every word of that, just sum it up for us, okay? And here's some more pictures of, this is a trench that they had dug very quickly, and we're just kind of in the front lines. All right, and I'll leave you with this glorious picture of trench foot from soldiers not changing their socks and their feet getting wet. All right, we'll talk about it in class. I'll see you guys later.